Here we have the inside of the 2017 Benimar Mileo 346. If we firstly come to the main control panel, we can turn the 12 volt on by pressing this button first and then this one. Once we've done this, we can then turn the water pump on just here. The water pump needs to be on so we can get water out of the taps, flush the toilet and fill the boiler if it's been drained down. Next we have awning light on and off, and then buttons along the bottom mainly give us information. So this first one here will give us a condition of the leisure battery, and then this one will give us a condition of the vehicle battery. Both batteries are charged by the main supply or the solar panel or the alternator whilst the engine is running. To view how much water is on board, press this button just here. Whenever the grey water tank needs emptying, a red light will flash just here next to the waste tank symbol. This light here is just letting us know that we have main supply connected, and when we start the engine, a light will illuminate here to let you know the alternator is charging the batteries. We can alter the brightness of the screen just by holding this button just here, so we can brighten it up or dim it down. Beneath the main control panel, we then have the Truma Combi control panel for the heating and hot water. So you'll see at the moment it's currently displaying the time and also letting us know that we have main supply connected. If we now press the button just here, all these icons will appear, and as I rotate the button they will begin to flash. If we start with the first icon just here, this one is for your heating. So if I now click on the button, heating is off. All I now need to do is just rotate, pick the temperature I require, and then click the button again. You'll now see a little flame has appeared above. That little flame there just represents the heating system and is just letting you know that you've set a parameter. Whenever the heating is in operation, the flame will steadily flash until it achieves the temperature you have asked. After heating, we then have hot water, and again if I now click, hot water is off. If I rotate, I can heat hot water in eco mode, which will give us a temperature of about 40 degrees. If I rotate again, we can heat in hot, which will give us a temperature of about 60 degrees. And if I rotate again, we can also perform a boost on the boiler. The boost was mainly designed for if there's going to be more than one of you having a shower in quick succession of each other, or if you would just like a longer shower. If you do perform the boost and the heating is running, the heating will turn off as it needs to use the power to perform the boost. And again, the icon will continue to flash until it achieves the temperature you have asked. Next we have power source, so we can run the system on mains electricity using 2 kilowatts or mains electricity using 1 kilowatt, so just dependent on the ampage of the site you're on to try and stop yourself from tripping. We can run in dual fuel, so on a mixture of gas and mains at 2 kilowatts or a mixture of gas and mains at 1. This particular setting is extremely handy, especially in the winter months if you want to get up to temperature nice and quickly, and it will only use the gas as it's required. And then lastly, if we have no main supply, we can solely run on gas. After power source selection, we then have the circulation fan for the heating. So currently the fan is in eco mode. We can turn it up to high. What we can also do with the circulation fan is use it to vent the motorhome on a warm day. If I now turn off hot water and heating, and return to it. We can now put it into vent mode, and we have a fan speed of 1 to 10. If we now drop to the lower icons, this first one here is for a basic timer. So we can set a start time and a finish time. And then once we've done that, we can just select what we would like on within that time period. Lastly, timer on or off. If I now activate the timer icon will come up here, and now within that time period, those settings would apply. If I now return to it, I can turn the timer back off again. And when we return, we can then alter it again. Next, we have clock set. And lastly, we have the settings menu. So within this, we have offset, which is just for the thermostat just here. If you don't think it's quite correct, you can slightly adjust it. Temperature, just if you prefer it displayed in Celsius or Fahrenheit. Brightness of the screen, 12 or 24 hour clock. Language. Index, which is really for the technicians, it just lets them know what software it's running. And then lastly, full factory reset. Every now and then these control panels will throw up error codes, but they are usually basic stuff. So if you're trying to run something on main supply and you don't have mains, it will let you know. And exactly the same if you're trying to run it on gas and you don't have any gas, or if you open the window over here which has the pressure switch on it. 9 times out of 10, as long as you rectify the problem, the error code will just disappear. The error code will appear here where my finger is, and is a warning triangle. And if you click on it, it will then display a series of numbers and letters, which if you then look in the manual or if you Google it, will tell you what the problem is. If, once you've rectified the problem, the error code doesn't just simply disappear, always then go back to the warning triangle and double click on it. It will then usually say no error and disappear. If that still hasn't solved the issue, if you still have heating or hot water running along the top here, just turn them off, because the system can reassess itself a lot faster when it's not trying to do lots of things at once. If that still doesn't solve the issue, I then always say do the good old fashioned turn it off, turn it back on again, and just hold the button in until it says off. If when you turn it back on again, you still have an error code, I then always suggest just going in to the settings menu and doing the factory reset, because from time to time these can just glitch and they just need a full reset. The Truma heating and hot water can be controlled via an app. If you are going to do that, download the app onto your device and then launch it. Once you've launched it, you'll see a button that says remote control. Press on it and then follow the on-screen instructions. It will firstly tell you to come to the iNet box, which is located just above the extractor fan. With the iNet box, it will ask you to press the Bluetooth button. It will then start flashing blue and start sending out the Bluetooth signal, and then you'll be able to connect up to it and then control your heating and your hot water locally via Bluetooth. You can control it from further afield if you purchase a pay-as-you-go SIM card and just slot it in the top here and then register it through the app. Also in here we have the regulator for the solar panel. This light here is just letting us know that there's UV light hitting the panel, and this light here is letting us know that it's currently charging either the leisure battery or the vehicle battery. Whenever both batteries are at optimum level, this light will go out and a light will illuminate here letting you know it's in float mode. Also in here we have the digital amplifier for the television aerial. We do not need to do anything with this. All we need to do is just make sure that the television aerial is plugged in, etc. If I now turn on the Avtex TV, I've already tuned the television into this location. These TVs behave like any other TV. You have your guide just here. These do come with DVD players in this side here, and along the top we also have USB plug-in points. As you change location, you will need to retune the TV in, and we have the retune button just here. Just hold it in and it will take you straight back to the retune menu. Then just hit OK and it will retune itself back in again. We also have the smoke alarm and the carbon monoxide alarm up here. They are both battery operated, so every now and then just press the buttons just to check that they are still operational. If we now come to the dinette area and we just remove the cushions just here, and we now slide this section just out here, and we now lift up, you'll see that we have the 12 volt fuses just here. So if something's not working on 12 volt, just come and check to see whether or not you've blown a 12 volt fuse. We then have the mains trip switches just here, no different than what you would find in your house. So if something's not working on main supply, just check to see whether or not you have tripped. And then back here with that little glowing light just there is the battery charger. So this is what charges the batteries when we are hooked up to the main supply. The Truma Combi boiler sits underneath this section just here, and to drain the boiler down for winterization we just need to come underneath the table. So if we just remove this for a second, so if we now just remove this section just here, you'll see the boiler drain valve just here. These particular drain valves are automatic, so if the temperature inside this motorhome drops below 3-4 degrees, this valve will automatically open and drop all the water out of the boiler to frost protect itself. If we are going to manually drain it, firstly make sure the water pump is turned off, then come to this blue diamond here and twist it. What will happen is a blue button will pop out at the bottom and it will start to drain the water out. To close it back up again, twist and push the button back in again to reset, and then it's just a matter of making sure you have water in your tank, turning the water pump on, and then it will begin to prime the boiler back up again. You may need to start opening up your taps. I usually firstly turn them to hot. They'll cough, they'll splutter as they force the air out. Once they're running freely, turn them to the cold. Again, make sure all the air is out of the system and then close, and then it will fully prime itself back up again. If this auto drains, all that will happen is the blue button at the bottom will just pop out, and to reset all you need to do is push it back in again. If it will not stay in, it's too cold in the motorhome and you will need to turn your heating on to generate some heat to allow it to reset. The fresh water tank is located underneath the travel seats just here. So again, if we now just remove the cushions, you will now see the fresh water tank. We can go and access it just here if we need to add cleaning powders, etc. to the system. And the water pump just sits here. As this is a fully winterized motorhome, the waste tank is fitted with a heater, and the switch for this is just located behind the driver's seat, on and off just here. So if you are using the van in extremely cold climate and you have water going into your waste tank, you can turn this on to prevent frost damage. The freshwater tank does not have one, as it is an internal tank. Next we have the hob. We have one electric hot plate that runs on main supply, on and off just here. And then we have the gas rings. Push in, twist and push the igniter. Beneath we have the oven in the grill. Push in to the left for the oven. And then push in and to the right for the grill. The extractor just sits above, light on and off just here, fan on and off on this side. Beneath the sink we have 12-volt socket and main socket, and located in the cutlery drawer we have all the gas isolation taps for all the appliances. They are all in the on position and can stay like this. I do say these are more for maintenance. If you smell gas in the van, it's always more sensible to turn the gas bottle off. But we have hob and oven, barbecue point, heating and hot water, and the fridge. Next we have the microwave. It is advisable to remove contents for travel. Again, this will only work on main supply. We have quick start just here and stop. This is also a grill combi, so we switch between just here. So we have the power settings, then the grill, and then the combination. Twist for time just down here. Beneath this we then have the Thetford fridge freezer, on and off just on the button just here. This is an automatic model, so as long as you are on A for auto, it will find the best power source it can for you. So because we're currently hooked up to main supply, it's put us onto main supply just here. If I now went outside and pulled the mains lead out, it would then automatically attempt to fire itself up onto gas, and as soon as we start the engine, it will then automatically go over to 12-volt main tank to keep itself cold whilst on the move. We can take it out of auto if we want to, just by pressing the button here. So manually on mains, manually on 12-volt maintain. We are going to get an error code at the moment because the engine isn't running, and I can manually put it onto gas. Temperature control just here. And then lastly we have the unit's anti-condensation jacket on and off. Currently the jacket is turned off because we're in the colder months now, so it's not required. In the warmer months we just need to turn it on like so. This will prevent condensation building up behind the fridge, which would then run down it and cause a puddle to form underneath it. We then have the freezer compartment just here, and beneath this the fridge. Because it is a very large fridge, you will see that there is a secondary travel catch just at the bottom just here, so if you do have a lot of stuff in it, just pull it across to lock it into place. If we now come to the washroom, we have the shower cubicle just here. Do make sure that the shower screen is fully clipped back for travel. We then have the basin, and the Thetford toilet. The bowl does swivel. Open to the cassette just on the grey lever here, and then push to flush just here, and then close back up again. If this has been left open and you try to remove the cassette from the outside, it will not come out. So if you do feel resistance, do just come and check to make sure it has been shut. Level indicator is just tucked just down here, and it will rotate round to red to let you know when the cassette needs emptying. Above my head we then have the Omnivent fan. To operate this, wind to raise the roof vent, and then we have on in the centre just here, and then we have arrows out for extraction, arrows in for cooling, variable fan speed just by pressing. Do make sure that all roof vents are closed for travel. We then have the rear bed. Depending on the height, you can attach the ladder at this point here. We do have steps in and out here as well, which do have storage beneath both. And then we have the Overcab bed here, ladder again just in these points here, and when not in use this can be all lifted up and will hold on the gas struts.